Thomas and friends, making tracks to great destinations. Dear Christopher, here is your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of his station yard and see the world. These stories tell you how he did it. I hope you will like them because you helped me to make them. Your loving Daddy. Today on the island of Sodor, Duncan won't stop grumbling. Next, Edward struggles to pull his passenger train. But first, Skarloey tells a story about Rheneas. Duncan would not stop grumbling. He grumbled that he wasn't polished enough. He grumbled that he was overworked. Most of all, he grumbled about the passengers. I'm ashamed of you, Duncan, said Skarloey. Thank goodness Rheneas is coming home soon. Perhaps he'll teach you some sense before it's too late. What has Rheneas to do with me? Rheneas saved our railway, replied Skarloey. Please tell us about it, said Peter Sam. Well, began Skarloey, it was before you came here. Things were bad. Rheneas and I had to keep the trains running, or else our railway would have closed. How awful, murmured Peter Sam. I've tried hard, continued Skarloey, but my old wheels ached. Rheneas understood. It's my turn now, he'd tell me. He was often short of steam, but he always struggled to the station and then rested there. I mustn't stop between stations, he'd say. The passengers wouldn't like that. Humph, huffed Duncan. He had recently stopped on a viaduct and hadn't cared at all. Passengers, continued Skarloey, get cross if you stop in the wrong place. Rheneas stopped in the wrong place once, and this is what happened. One wet and windy afternoon, when the rails were damp, Rheneas was traveling home with a full train. There were even passengers in the brake van. It was not a comfortable ride at all. His wheels slipped, and it was a steep climb. At last, his wheels gripped the rails again. The worst is over, he thought. Now we're away. But they weren't. Ah! I've got a cramp! He groaned, and Rheneas stopped on the loneliest part of the line. His driver examined him carefully. Your valve gear's jammed. We need to get to the next station still. Do you think you can still get us there? I'll try, replied Rheneas. Rheneas did his best. If I fail, he thought to himself, the passengers will be cross and the railway will close. Everything blurred. He was really too tired to make another turn of his wheels, but he did. And another, and another. And another. With one more great effort, finally, tired but triumphant, he reached the station. I'm here at last, he wheezed. Thank you for getting us home, said the passengers. We'll tell all our friends what a fine railway this is. His driver was delighted. You're a gallant little engine, he said to Rheneas. When you're rested, we'll mend you, so you'll be ready for tomorrow. And, smiled Skarloey, Rheneas always was ready for tomorrow. Thanks for telling me about him, whispered Duncan. I was wrong. Passengers are important after all. The next day, Rheneas came home. All the engines were there to greet him. Edward pushed his truck to the siding, where he was lifted onto the rails. This was the signal for a chorus of whistles from engines large and small. Everyone was happy, and Rheneas was the happiest of all. You know, he whispered to Skarloey, this helps a little engine to feel that at last he's really come home. If you climb the highest mountain, cross the river deep, maybe you'll find it's never as easy as it first appears. Just remember not to worry or get down at heart. Never lose faith in positive thinking. You'll be amazed when you achieve all the things you start. So, never give up, even though the going's tough. Don't stop trying when you're tiring and you're out of puff. No, never give up, even though you're feeling rough. If at first you don't succeed, never give up. If at first you don't succeed, then try and try again. Nothing in life is ever as easy, but you'll get there in the end. So blow your cares and woes behind you, start a brand new day. Nothing can stop you reaching your goal. If you're determined you can do it, you will find a way. So, never give up, even though the going's tough. Don't stop trying when you're tiring and you're out of puff. Never give up, even though you're feeling rough. If at first you don't succeed, never give up. Some things seem impossible, answers hard to find. No matter how improbable, you won't know until you try. You can do whatever you choose, it just takes a little luck. So remember, never give up. Never give up, even though the going's tough. Don't stop trying when you're tiring and you're out of puff. No, never give up, even though you're feeling rough. If at first you don't succeed, never give up. Never give up, even though the going's tough. Don't stop trying when you're tiring and you're out of puff. No, never give up, even though you're feeling rough. If at first you don't succeed, never give up. Never give up. Never give up. Bertie the bus was giving some visitors a tour of the island of Sodor. It was their last afternoon. Edward was preparing to take them to meet Bill and Ben. He found it hard to start the heavy train. Do you see him straining? Asked Henry. Positively painful, remarked James. Just pathetic, grunted Gordon. He should give up and be preserved before it's too late. Shut up, burst out Duck. You're all jealous. Edward's better than any of you. You're right, Duck, said Boko. Edward's old, but he'll surprise us all. I've done it, we're off, said Edward as he finally puffed out of the station. Bill and Ben were delighted to see the visitors. They loved being photographed. Later, they took the party to the China Clay Works in a brake van special. Everyone had a splendid time, and the visitors were most impressed. Soon they returned, and it was time for Edward to take them home. On the way, the weather changed. Wind and rain buffeted at Edward. His sanding gear failed, and his driver rode in front, dropping sand on the rails by hand. Suddenly, Edward's wheels slipped fiercely, and with a shrieking crack, something broke. The crew inspected the damage. Repairs took some time. "Seems one of your crank pins is broken, Edward," said his driver. "We've taken off your side rods. Now you're like an old-fashioned engine. Can you get these people home? They must start back tonight." "I'll try, sir," promised Edward. Edward puffed and pulled his hardest, but his wheels kept slipping, and he couldn't start the heavy train. The passengers were anxious. The driver, fireman, and conductor went along the train, making adjustments between the coaches. "All right, we've loosened the couplings, Edward. Now, you could pick up your coaches one by one, just as you do with freight cars." "That'll be much easier," said Edward. "Whew. Come on," he panted, and moved cautiously forward. The first coach moving helped to start the second, and the second helped the third. "I've done it! I've done it!" puffed Edward. "Steady, boy," said his driver. "Okay. Yes, well done, boy. You've got them. You've got them." And he listened happily to Edward's steady beat as he forced slowly but surely ahead. At last, battered, wearied, but unbeaten, Edward steamed in. Henry was waiting for the visitors with a special train. "Heep, heep!" Sir Topham Hatt angrily pointed to the clock, but excited passengers cheered and thanked Edward, his driver, and his firemen. Duck and Boko saw to it that Edward was left in peace. Gordon and James remained respectfully silent.